Welcome guys to the video, and in this video we are going to be talking about how to take care of axolotls and the general day-to-day things that you have to do in order to take care of one of these animals. So first of all, axolotls are four-legged aquatic salamanders that originate from Mexico. They come from two lakes in Mexico, Lake Yochimilco and Lake Chalco in Mexico City, Mexico. They get to around 8 to 12 inches big. They'll reach this length in about 6 to 12 months if they have good care. And they can also live to a surprising amount of 10 years, which is a very long time for an animal this size. So if you're going to be taking care of one of these animals, it is a long-term, a long-term care instead of like a fish where they could be about a year to 2 years. So you better be thinking about the long-term housing of this animal. So this is how you feed an axolotl. You get a worm, earthworm, and then you
drop it right over their head is the best method.
There it goes. You can feed your axolotl many different types of food, but the most popular food is the nightcrawler, which is what me and Ethan use to feed our axolotls. This gives them all the nutrients they need, but you can also use different types of food like frozen bloodworms. I usually feed my axolotls a half a worm a day just because they are juvenile axolotls and they're a lot smaller. And Ethan's axolotl eats a full nightcrawler every single day because his axolotl is a subadult, which is around 6 to 8 inches long. So his will need more food than a younger axolotl will require. Okay, so now we're moving on to tank size and requirements for keeping axolotls. So first of all, a 10-gallon fish tank is the absolute minimum for keeping one axolotl. Although you can get away with a 10-gallon tank, you should probably try and get a 20-gallon long because it is easier to keep good water parameters. And if you also go with a 20 long, then it also gives the axolotls more horizontal movement. Since I'm keeping two juvenile axolotls in one 20-gallon, they'll both have more room to move around instead of being more cramped, like in a 20 tall. And once they are fully grown, I'll probably be upgrading their tank to a 40-gallon because it'll also give them more room. Okay, you will also want to get a lid for your aquarium because axolotls are known to jump from their tanks. So I will leave a link to the lid that I have in the description and some other options for lids. So to help maintain good water parameters, you will need a good filter, and there are three main types of filters. They all have their pros and cons. The first one's a hang on the back filter, which is what I use. This is probably the most convenient because you can find them anywhere, but it also creates a lot of flow if they do not have like a flow rate adjuster. Cancer filters is the second category, and these are they can be compact or very large depending on which one you get, but they filter a lot of water, and you can get a spray bar so it doesn't create a lot of flow for them. Sponge filters are one of the last categories, and they do not create a lot of flow, but they don't really get a lot of water volume in them, but they are great for axolotls since they do not like a lot of flow. And on this axolotl tank, I have the Aquolotl Care 20. I have it on the lowest flow setting just because it won't affect the flow rate, so they won't go flying everywhere and won't get stressed out because of the flow rate. It's a very good filter because it has the adjustable flow rate, because like the aqueons do not have the adjuster for flow rate. So, and also this one's very you can put your own media in here, but I do recommend this filter. Okay, so axolotls do not like a lot of light, so you will not need a light. But I have a light just so like when I want to view them, I'll turn it on so I can see them better. But axolotls do not like a lot of light, so you won't need to factor this in for your cost if you don't want them. Okay, so the hardest part about keeping an axolotl is keeping the water below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And there are many ways to get it under 70 degrees. You have aquarium chillers, but they are very expensive and they could be very loud depending on which one you get. Or you could get like a fan to blow across the surface of the water like I have. Okay, so right here we have the ZoomEd aquarium fan, and also all what it does is there's a button on the back to turn it on, but it basically sends it blows air across the surface of the water to help with evaporative cooling, to help cool your axolotl tank or any other aquarium. The one issue I have with this one is just it is kind of loud, as you can probably hear, and it does work really well because it lowers my tank around 5 degrees, so keeps it under 70 degrees. Okay, so one of the many common mistakes beginner axolotl owners do is the substrate they choose. And if you're getting an axolotl, the type of substrate you would want is like a very fine sand, so they do not swallow the substrate on accident and die from like impactions, because you definitely do not want that, and it's a very preventable death. So if you choose a very fine sand or even no substrate at all, I personally don't use any substrate at all, and so does Ethan, because it's easier to clean and it's just there's no worry about them swallowing it. So
one thing that I noticed while keeping loopers is that axolotls are very dirty fish and they like to poop a lot. And so I actually keep a turkey baster with me, and I will suck out the poop occasionally when I see it floating around. And that helps keep his water clean, and it keeps me from having to do water changes every 3 days. So I do recommend you guys get that, but axolotls are a very rewarding fish to keep, and I recommend all somewhat experienced fish owners to take care of them.
okay, so keeping an axolotl for me has been a very enjoyable experience because I've never had a dog before, but I feel like I'm taking care of a dog inside of an aquarium. I know it sounds kind of stupid, but that's the way I feel about it. But I get a lot of enjoyment out of watching them thrive in their tank and like feeding them every day. It gives me something to do, and I love it whenever I stick my face in the glass and they swim up to me, and they're wanting food obviously, but I love seeing that. And so if you are looking at getting an axolotl, I would recommend it. They've been very fun to keep. But if you're going to get an axolotl, I recommend doing a lot more research. I'll leave links in the description below to more in-depth guides to keeping axolotls. But thank you guys for watching this video, and please subscribe if you want to see more content like this.
Please don't talk about me when I'm gone. Oh honey, though our friendship's